What's up guys, welcome back to this channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you real quick how you can easily handle your webhooks in FlutterFlow. We all know FlutterFlow doesn't currently support that, so I'm going to be showing you that. Just stick around, and if you haven't already, just hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. So let me demonstrate what we are going to build by the end of this video. So we have this list of products here that we can buy. So these are like futuristic shoes. Probably in 3010 we'll be using this kind of shoes. I don't know, but yeah, let's buy this shoe. Now this is going to take us to Stripe where we are supposed to buy, and so here on Stripe we are going to fill the information that is needed to buy, and when we buy it's going to broadcast back a notification to FlutterFlow, and we see that hey, we have a new purchase, and all of that is happening over the webhook. There's no direct link between Stripe and FlutterFlow here. We don't have the connection, or the integration setup. All of this is happening just with the use of that webhook. So I'm going to enter jimmyamir.com, enter this test example card information from Stripe, country Cameroon, and when I pay, this should automatically broadcast and run my webhook like a new payment has been made whatsoever thing, and then we should be able to see this notification that this payment has been processed back on FlutterFlow. So if we come back here, as you can see, if we come back here, you are now seeing we have two notifications up here. So if we click here, you see these two notifications. This one, new item purchased by Keely, and this is the one that we just purchased, and I can mark to read that notification, right? That's just what we are going to be developing real quick. So webhooks, why webhooks? Why are they important? So webhook has revolutionized the way applications communicate and share data in this modern development age. Modern application development makes use of event-driven architectures. Therefore, there's a lot of communication between multiple applications. You might have an application that receives a user order and then wants to ship out to somewhere. A quick Google search on what a webhook is says webhook is an HTTP request triggered by an event in a source system and sent to a destination system, often with a payload or data. Well, this simply just explains the fact that webhooks get triggered when an event happens on another system. You can listen to what has happened on your own system. So I'm just going to demonstrate a simple example here. Let's take, for example, say we have our app on FlutterFlow and we want to process users' order. Say somebody, the action that happens here is somebody buys, and when somebody buys, they have to pay probably something like Stripe, then they pay. When that payment has been successfully made, you want to probably send in the shipping. Now all of these activities happens without the user's knowledge. So the user buys into our app, and when they buy, they definitely have to pay to Stripe, and when they pay to Stripe, we want to send out that shipping order. So all of this can happen in the background using the using webhooks. As you can see, you can have our application, and when the user buys, therefore they buy, they are definitely paying to Stripe. Stripe is going to confirm like, hey, this person has paid. We can just notify back to our application that this person has paid. And when the order has been shipped, we can notify back into our application that, hey, this order has been shipped. We don't have to always be listening like, hey, what is happening? What is the state of this? What is the state of this? Stripe is going to know like, okay, at this state, let me notify. At this state, let me notify. And the same with the shipping platform that you're using, is going to know like, okay, let me notify, like this is the shipping state that we have. This is where we're currently at. So we all know FlutterFlow doesn't currently support how you can listen for incoming requests. It has a means of you sending out API requests, that is data leaving your application, but you cannot somehow get data into your application besides using the database method or having something written in the database. Previously, the way that we can manage this is using automation tools like Zapier or N8N. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you this amazing tool that is easy to integrate and very, very easy to implement. So the simple example that I'm going to be demonstrating today is going to show you how to set up like webhooks with Stripe. There are so many other solutions, but I'm going to demonstrate using Stripe. So what is going to happen is we are going to have a list of products, and when somebody buys, we're going to listen for a particular event like, hey, a payment has been made successful, then let's do this, or something has happened and let's do this. So this is a demo account that I just have on Stripe here. I'm not even done setting it up, but so far we have these products. I created these futuristic products. So these are the items that we have here, just 5 items, and also I have payment links, Stripe payment links for all of these items too that I've just created. These are the 5 payment links, and back here on Supabase, I have this table called products, just a single table with all of the items, their description, their payment link, and the various images. So let's head over to FlutterFlow and get started. So I'm just going to create a new application here. Right here, I'm just going to create a new page, or definitely start from a template. Let's use a template that has a list of products. Let me come here. So I like this view, so I'm going to take this and then just customize it. So we have this interface. This is what we are going to be using for as list of products. So we're just going to generate children very soon by using all of this. But before that, let us enable Supabase and then import our. So yeah, this is all we need to get started. So I'm going to get back to my application and then just come here on the top here. I'm going to wrap this in a list view, and on this list view, let's just query the database, backend query, Supabase query, products, list of rows. Now this is automatically going to generate like this. We have, so the products are going to be looking like this. So we can see an item and then we buy, see an item and then we buy. So here I'm going to replace this image with the image path, products row, image. Here, this is the item name or the product name whatsoever. And this is going to be the price. I'm going to do like combine text, so that we should have like a dollar sign in front. Dollar plus the products row, price, confirm. Now the description, I'm just going to give this the ability to expand. And now on this buy, remember we have like in our collection, in our database here on Supabase, we have these items, these products. They have like the payment links to the individual products that we have on Stripe. So this is a payment link. Yeah, payment link. This is Stripe URL. These payment links are created here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that when the user clicks on that link, like clicks on buy, it takes them to that link. So I'm just going to add an action and I say launch URL products or payment link. I think that's all we need. Now we are done with the front end of the application. Now let's get to talking about webhooks now. So Stripe has this documentation about webhooks. So this is a documentation about webhooks, how you can use webhooks to connect your application, to listen for events when events happen. And if you click here, like the list of events, let's see, events object, for example. So here in the documentation, you can just read about the events, but let's just see list all events. What we want to do is the event that we want to listen to, therefore the event that we want, like after this event has happened, let us do something in our application, is the event after a successful payment. So after a checkout session is successful, like if somebody has bought something, then we can listen for an event. Another thing you can do is take, for example, most of the time people lose sales because maybe the person that's supposed to buy, like their card was not well processed or something happened and then their card was rejected. I'm going to show you that in a second. You can also have the ability to say, probably send yourself an email if somebody is trying to buy something on your account or something they are selling and then their cards get rejected, so that it notify you like this person is trying to buy this but their card was rejected and something. Then you can probably like cold email the person and say, hey, you can get this resolved, or use another alternative means to make sure that I catch that payment, and that is more money for you. Anyways, we have where's the thing? These are the list of supported events that Stripe currently supports. There are a lot of them. Say for example, you are doing a subscription service, you can do something when somebody subscribe, and that's how you manage subscriptions. The events that we're going to be making use of is checkout session completed. Like this, if somebody is trying to check out a product that we have and the session is completed, we are going to demonstrate how to listen for this event and then see how either it's successful, like the person successfully paid, or there was an error. This is how the object or the data that is being sent after a successful checkout event is being triggered to wherever you're listening. Now, the way webhooks work is that when an event gets triggered, you need somewhere that is listening for that event. And this somewhere is usually called like a callback URL or a public accessible URL that you want that payload to be sent to. So you should be able to receive post request. in most cases. And a good place to start demonstrating or debugging that is Hookdeck. So this is like a webhook infrastructure path. So I have like this example. These are various webhooks that I've set up here, but they have a playground that you can try. You can use it here. So this is a webhook playground. So what we are going to do is, for demonstration purposes, we are going to try testing out how to receive or how that webhook is being seen here. So this is a public URL that we're going to use. So let's copy that and go onto our Stripe and create a new webhook. We need to create a new webhook. So we are going to come here on developers and then webhooks. So here we don't have any webhook endpoint. I'm just going to add one, and let's use the URL that we have. The URL that we copied from Hookdeck, right? Now, besides Hookdeck, there are other applications I can use to test. Remember, this is just for testing. You can have like this application called webhook.site. Let's authenticate. And here you can set up the events that you want to listen to. So the events you want to listen for is checkout session completed at endpoint. And this is going to create a listener, like Hookdeck is going to be the listener at playground. And then when that event happens, we're going to get that event like, hey, this thing has been successful whatsoever. So I'm going to put here side by side. Let me use this one of these payment links that we have here and try to make a successful payment so that we see side by side how the success event is going to be received here on Hookdeck. So this is our Hookdeck console here on the right, and this here right here is the Stripe payment link that I'm going to open. So here you can see this is the product here on the left. So I'm just going to enter a dummy email. I'm going to paste this test card, Stripe test card information. If I pay, now when this payment or this checkout is successful, we should receive this event on the right here on the Hookdeck console. We should receive the event if it is successful. So let's just give it some time while we wait. And that is it. It has come. So let's maximize and see what we have here. So now remember, that happens just because of that webhook that we created. So we created a webhook and we are listening on this URL. And when that event happens, then we get the payload here on this URL. So this is the payload that we're getting the request here. And this is the body. So there are a lot of details that I can extract from here. Let me copy this and open on my JSON viewer so that I can see what we have to deal with. I'm going to open it here. Now we have this is a lot of data. We have the ID of the events. Every ID of the webhook events is usually different, and you can use this to track like events that are repeating so that you can eliminate some things in your application. That's another story. But the event type is checkout session completed, and you see there's a lot of data that I can use here. If we open data, you see this object and a lot of things I can play. We have the customer's detail in case we had asked for the customer to fill in their address. Here, this is what we can use to say if the user buys something, we want to ship it to them, then we can use this address like available here and a lot of other details, and we can see that the payment, they're paying using the card and the payment status is paid. So all of this, the status here is completed. All of this data is very, very useful in our application. Now I've seen how we can receive this test webhook data on FlutterFlow, on Hookdeck console. Let's now get into how all of this plays together, like after receiving the event, then what next? So for that, I'm just going to run this app, our FlutterFlow app, and then try purchasing something so that we also see that we can receive that event here before we tie it to what we want to actually do. Let's start a test mode. So we have our test mode ready here. So by the way, all of these items, all of these products were generated with AI. Shout out to AI. So I'm going to try and let's buy one of these, this big glow energy boot. So it's going to open that payment link. And what we should be expecting is receive the same event here after a successful purchase. Okay, it has gone successfully. Let's come back here on Hookdeck and we should receive the event here shortly. Now that is the event. So we know for sure that our app is working very well. This is our app. It's working very well. Users can click on this product and then buy it. Now in the real world, that's actually how purchases work. Like you have a product and then you link it and everything goes successfully. Now let's address, how do you call it? Let's address the horse in the house. Is it the elephant in the room? Something like that. So the tool that we are going to be using to help us do all of this is BuildShape. Now this is build ship. Now build ship lets you provision like backend tasks and workflow without having to worry about the backend. I can make a video about that some other time, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's create a new build ship workflow here and just call it Stripe webhook listener. Now the trigger for this webhook is going to be an API request. So we are going to be listening on a post method. So I'm going to add a trigger and select the API REST API call, add trigger, and the path is, let's say, stripe dash listener, right? And the method is post. So what I want us to do first is, excuse me, when we hit this endpoint, what should we do? Let's just console.log first. So I'm going to say console. And what value do we want to log? We want to log the request like this, request body, right? So let's ship this. And it has been shipped. This is our webhook endpoint. Now, the reason why I recommended using Hookdeck instead of probably any other webhook tester is because Hookdeck allows you to send out events that you received to another destination. So in this case, we are just going to be testing between. Now we've already seen how the payload that we want to manage looks like. So we are going to just be using this Hookdeck as an intermediary to send to our build ship. Now this is just for demonstration purposes, but in real world now we have to move this now to Stripe. Anyways, let me do it so that you understand what I'm saying. So we have this source here. Our source is coming from here, and our destination want to forward like the events that come into our build ship URL, which is this URL, our Stripe listener. So add. Now what have we done here? We are saying when an event comes in, let's just log the request body. So what I'm going to do is, again, this is just for testing so that it's faster for us to iterate and just build. So I'm going to forward this like send to destination. I'm going to send, and hopefully it has gone. Then back here on build ship, we should be able to receive this event logged here, like the event that was sent from, yeah, this is its success down here. We should be able to receive it here. And what it has logged is, it has just simply logged this API body. Let me open it so that I see very well. It has logged all of this. Now, this is what our endpoint is going to be receiving. This is what we need to, this is the endpoint that we need to configure on Stripe. Like we have this, our Hookdeck our build ship endpoints that is going to be like the webhook listener. We configure that on Stripe. Then when an event happens, Stripe is going to broadcast the payload back to build ship. They can do whatsoever thing they want to do. So an example of something that you may want to do when a new event happen is probably send a notification. Like you have that notification counter up there that, hey, an event has been purchased or whatsoever, la la la. So let's try to build that up into FlutterFlow, like to just receive the notification. Now for that, what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to create a table here, like an additional table. I'm going to create a new table and I'll call it notifications, the text, and whether it has been read or not. So we just need all of this, the text to show in the notification and whether or not the notification has been read. So let me save that. And now we have our notifications table created with all of that. So what we want to happen is when a new purchase has been made, let's send a notification like, hey, a new purchase has been made. Simple as that. And the way we are going to do that is let our build ship communicate with this thing, with Supabase. And that is how you can, in fact, you can exploit this in so many ways. You can have build ship to do whatever thing, like talk to your shipping provider or do a lot of other things. Again, this is just a demonstration. So right here, what do I want to do? I need, like, when a new REST API endpoint comes in, remember this is the payload that we are dealing with. Where is it? This is the payload that we are dealing with here. Again, it's just always good, even though we know that this event will only be triggered when a checkout is succeeded, we still need to make sure that that is the only case that we have something processed, just so it's on the safe side. So I'm going to still do again, like verify, like if the type of the checkout is checkout.session to completed, just to verify. It is also very, very important to note that it is a good practice to secure your webhooks. And Stripe has, or every webhook provider have various means that you can use to secure your webhook, or you can build your own security method. So you can use webhook signatures here and whatnot. So just note that besides just checking for if the event matches, again, this is just another step of verification for us. It is very important to secure your webhook so that you can avoid cyber attacks. So I'm going to come here and add another condition, like a condition just to make sure that we are checking again. So true, I'm going to say the condition is the request dot body dot type is equal to, we have this text. Yeah, we have this. If this condition is successful, what do we want to do? If this is actually what we are listening for, what do we want to do? We want to insert into Supabase, right? So that is how we are going to create a new notification type. We are going to insert into the notification column or the notification table. So I'm just going to come here on Supabase and I'll say create a row. Back here on my secrets, like the secrets here, I have my Supabase URL and Supabase key. So I'm just going to come back here and then plug that in from the secrets. Now the table that I want to insert into is called notifications. Now it's very important to type this correctly so that it matches what we have here on Supabase. Viewship also has documentations that you can look at how to do a lot of things. So be sure to check that out. Anyways, we are inserting into notifications the object. What object are we trying to insert into? We want text. Say new. The text should be new item purchased. Now we can tie probably like a parameter from that request query, but let's just test that very quick. And then one read to be false, like that. So it has not been read yet. And this simple workflow, then probably at the end of this, we want to return something, return a 200 to show that it's a success. So we're going to return status code 200 value, say payload processed. Let's return a 400 this way, 400 this way. Now this is a very simple workflow. Now this note down here is not relevant. Oh, let me delete it anyways. And ship. Now with these changes shipped, again, we can just demonstrate back here on using our Hookdeck. We can just demonstrate again with it. So this is the previous request I tried sending before. So let's resend to destination. And if that goes well, we should have this data inserted into our Supabase. Yeah, exactly. So red false, new item purchased, we have all of this. Now we can make use of our notification system. Again, there are means that you can set so that you pass like a user ID from FlutterFlow to Stripe. There are so many things that you can do, but this is just a demonstration. Yeah. So we have all of this. What do we want to do now? We need a means of presenting this in the front on our FlutterFlow application. Let me just highlight again. We are using Hookdeck here just so to speed up our development process rather than every time to listen for this webhook to go and be triggering like, hey, buy a new item and wait for it to be triggered, buy a new item, buy a new item, every time to be filling those details. We are using this example payload I want to be working with to do development faster. One interesting thing that we can have is evaluate this payload and see another details that we may want to tie to that our this thing, our notification. Let's say we want to say new item bought by the person's name. So customer details, yeah, the name. So let's just add name. So it should be new items bought by. Again, back here on Hookdeck, if I search for, I want to use name. Let me just see where this is indexed. So we have data.object.customer.details.name. You see, this is where we can find this object. So I'm going to add that in build ship. Let's say new item purchased by, we have variable here, request body dot object customer details dot name. The message is going to be new item purchased by blah blah blah, new item purchased by whatever person. So with that modification, let's ship. Now let's build this notification interface on FlutterFlow. I'm going to add this batch widget to denote notification. So on this batch, let's just add an icon. So we have something like that. So what we want to do here to show that notification is we probably want to query notifications table and then the number of items that returns. So we have here, we are going to do a backend query, add query. whoa, we did not fetch schema. Remember we added that notifications table, but we have not like get schema. It's no longer showing here. So let's get schema so that it shows. Now we have products too. Back here in our interface, we can do our backend query, add query, superbase query. We want to fetch notifications, list of rows. We filter where red is false. Yeah, so only those notifications that have not been read, so they have not been read. And now here on this batch, we get a number as notifications row, number of items, yeah. And default value should be 0, so that it shows 0. That is it for notification. And when we click here, we probably need like a card that come over and then we display the notifications. But let me just design the card or create the card, the components that is going to show the list of notifications. Yeah, so what I've done here is I have this list view that simply queries the same thing that we have on the front, and then it displays the notification here, and then when you click on this checkbox, it's going to update that particular row and then change its red to true and then set its red to true. Then I refresh the database. Anyways, then back here on the home, I wrap this into a stack. Then we have this container below, then the notification component above, and then it's going to be showing like this. Now what I want to do is probably like set a conditional visibility. It should be only visible when this button is clicked, when this badge is clicked. Then I have here on this notification list, it's visible based on an app state called show notification. When you click on this icon, it's going to set the app state to true. Then when you close the notification, it's going to set the app state to false, so that it doesn't show it. Anyways, that's what we have. And at this level, if we run the application, we should see at least that one notification that we created before, the one notification that we had from the test, this one, which is showing false, and we should be able to toggle that and set it. So this is what we have now. And if I click on this bell icon, yeah, this is the one new item purchase that we have. And clicking here, yeah, okay, we have it. We've read the notification, and then we can close back this notification bar. And now the value is showing 0, and back here we should have this updated to true, right? Just like that. So I think we have everything working from end to end. What is remaining is for us to actually tie our webhook. Anyways, if we trigger this, like if we send this multiple times, let's just say we try this multiple times to the destination, so that is going to create like multiple entries into our database. So this webhook, this build ship workflow is going to execute multiple times and insert values into our database. And we should have multiple entries here now. So new item purchased by this, new item purchased by this. I'm back in our application. We have 5 notifications. We click here, we see the 5 notifications like this, and we can mark them as red. Again, you can customize this anyhow you want it to be. So we have everything working. Now what we have to actually do is actually move things back to production. So we have this our webhook URL. I'm going to copy the endpoint, and then back here on my Stripe, instead of using what we're sending to Hookdeck, I'm going to use what we have and we are sending now to. So I'm going to click on this webhook, and I'm going to update the URL so that it sends the request directly to BuildShip. Understand? So it doesn't have to pass through Hookdeck. You're no longer going to be using that as an intermediary. Well, you can keep it as an intermediary, just that I think Hookdeck has expiry dates for logs and whatnot. So back here, let's tie this to our BuildShip URL so that any request that is coming there goes directly to BuildShip. So I'm going to update details, and instead of this Hookdeck URL, I'm going to paste my BuildShip URL. So, and just the checkout session completed. So I'm going to update the endpoint. So let us run our application, and now we should actually have everything working from end to end. Let me refresh here. So we currently have all of our items. So let's buy this CyberPulse runner shoe. So this is where we are supposed to pay. Now let's use like one of these test payment card. Let's use this one for generic decline or whatever insufficient funds. let's try to pay when we don't have insufficient enough funds. You're going to see like that event is not going to be triggered, and so we are not going to have like a successful purchase. Let me see, your credit card was declined, and that is not going to trigger any events. Nothing is going to be inserted into our database. Nothing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. Nothing is going to be inserted. But now if we actually try to pay using a valid credit card, let me use a valid card, this one, a Visa card, copy, and then pay, just like that. Remember, our notifications here is currently showing 0. So let's see, we pay. Thank you for your payments. Back in the database, we should have this new item inserted with false, new item purchased by Kili, and our app should be able to give us that in a couple of minutes. That new item purchased by Kili. And so that is it. So let's just have a recap of what we have done here. What we did was we set up our Stripe webhook on Stripe. We used build ship as the receiving endpoint. So we created a receiver on build ship. Then the build ship receiver communicates directly with our Supabase database, which then displays the data on FlutterFlow. So you can do this with whatsoever solution that you are doing, with whatsoever thing, and you can modify it to suit your use case. Anyways, guys, that was briefly how you can manage your webhooks with FlutterFlow or in FlutterFlow, because FlutterFlow doesn't support that currently. And if you liked this video, please be sure to like leave a subscribe button, or if you have any comments, be sure to leave it down below. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.